hit. Now, I will say, I hope that you're right. I want a bit of a competitive game, but for me and my sake and my money, I'm gonna have to go ahead and say I don't think GODSENT's made that much of an improvement, actually.
Well, I mean, we saw better utility. We got so much utility damage out of GODSENT on the CT side. So that's really what I'm focusing on, I think, primarily. They just need more shots to be hit. We'll see how it all goes. GODSENT starts CT, and they're trying to rush players down into middle. But B site lost very quickly.
My God.
Kenny, Hunter, finding the entries. It's just Crystal. He bought the kit in the smoke. He was trying to lock down A. And, well, it's the B-bomb side instead.
Well, that's not how I thought it would start, but at the same time, it does lend credence to my point, so why not? Okay, Crystal, I like that. I really like that one, actually. Yeah. It's a small little detail, but he throws the smoke over and outwards, and he makes sure, hey, if I can't have it, you can't either. He knows he probably won't be able to save the kit either, so he will just end up backing up. He'll fade away with a quick shot as well, and Nexa takes him down. Now, an interesting point to note over there is it's actually good for Crystal to die, because for the terrorist side, the amount of money you get if the bomb blows up and you win is greater than the amount of money that you get if the bomb doesn't blow up. So $3,500 versus $3,250, yes, but $250 across the board, that's a bit more than maybe you might consider going into the next round.
And he threw $300 out the map as well. So
indeed,
he's really thinking about the money.
There you go. Team player right there.
Well, force buy round for GODSENT. We expect nothing less. Hunter, ooh, down to 22. The nade won't track him down. He rounds the corner nicely.
Oh, no. Yeah. Sorry, Michael.
Listen, man. We'll wait for the gun rounds. Don't you dare.
Listen, I hope the GODSENT are able to do what they did against Saw, though. They were looking like a very different team then. It's just, ever since, it seemed like GODSENT has slowly slipped down just a little bit. Now, I do still think that they've got a solid chance of, you know, causing a couple of rounds here or there to be upset, but we'll have to see what G2 have to bring to the table first. They're going for a very slow-paced round, but Amanek dodges the flash and now moves through all the utility in the round, finds himself one, and the second is almost there. Instead, it's Jax to be the one to find a 2K. Here's Max 10 finding lots of money, and Steeko's Deagle has been brought down as well.
No second round win there for GODSENT. It's bypassed, the SMGs closing the gap, and that one flashbang, it did so much to open up that hole towards B. No flash. Could definitely see that going the way of GODSENT. And hey, utility, that's exactly what it's there for. All that economic consideration coming into the round doesn't hamper them enough. It's USPs. There are a couple of Deagles around it. Crystal has a Zeus as well in his hands. They are prepared for any sort of mid-pressure that GODSENT could apply in this round. Oh, Crystal, he gets given a chance, but he actually peeks away as Hunter swings into him.
Hunter finding that one kill is important. Crystal could have been a real thorn in the side otherwise. GODSENT. Ooh, no, he's not going to be able to sail through, and Hunter almost caught on a timing window. Now, one thing for GODSENT that we'll have to keep an eye out for is how exactly they want to play their retakes on the A-bomb site later on. What do they even want to play for retakes? Kenny, nice little firing range. They're taking them one by one against an anti-eco. But I do think a lot of this game will come down to how well GODSENT is able to retake the A-bomb site in particular. So far, G2 haven't really put that much pressure there, though.
I thought this was quite nice. Kenny, obviously, known as an AWPer. Like you noted on Overpass, the rifle has been looking just as good for him in this series. Now onto rifles. Of course, they don't have the AWP. They lack the appropriate amount of funds. Of course, Farley could have invested into it, but he would have been skimped out on utility and armor as well. Elevated angle for Steeko, finds himself a kill. Madden as well, spamming alongside Farley and Crystal, and things go well over at A. G2 have nothing to work with to start off this round.
Smoke thrown out initially, but G2, like you mentioned, a round which was supposed to be a bonus where at least, you know, if you're not getting the round win, you'll still get quite a few kills just to make sure that, hey, CT economy, we know what you are. You're a fickle beast, and we're going to drive you down. Kenny is looking to do just that at this point. The round wins a bit more to ask for than maybe they can deliver, but Kenny can't even find the kill. And Almanac, even if he does have a Mach 10 in his major signature, I don't know if he can actually get this one out. Nice skill at the very least, so Crystal will fall. Nice to have that come through, but he himself is as low as can be as well. AK picked up in the meanwhile, knife out, and he could be discovered, but Stiko's the one to fall. Stiko hunting that boldly with that little HP might be a questionable decision.
Yeah, a big risk to take. Of course, the bomb is very separate from Almanac, so winning the round isn't too feasible. Oh, even trying to line up a neat little spam, but not going to get anything from it. He does give his position away as a result of that as well. So they know where he is. They know that the bomb is securely in their control, and that Almanac is trying to save this AK into the following round. And you should expect that GODSENT give it to him.
Almanac. I mean, I am kind of surprised GODSENT don't hunt as much, but I suppose after Stiko's gone down, you've got to keep the Magic 3 alive. But this is still so much more damage given up than maybe is necessary. And this is where I think GODSENT starts to become a little bit more iffy, which is where, look, I think, jokes aside, I think you're absolutely right. They did have a lot more utility damage last time we saw them play. But you need to be able to pull out that utility consistently. And more importantly for me, I want to see an AWP, not in Farley's hands, because very often it's actually Zen and Modern who take the AWP over here. But I still want to see the AWP come into play.
Well, we do see it come into play, but it's in Kenny's hands instead. First time G2 will invest in that AWP.
Modern was considering. Yeah, Modern was considering getting aggressive through it, but there wasn't a second player to flash him in. Farley, unfortunately, without a flashbang in that spot. So they will back off and play a little bit more defensively. Crystal loves to play from sandbags, so. And this will be very interesting to see. The dynamic between Crystal and Farley is what will decide the pace of this round.
And still going for the jump peaks. Kenny's not going to spawn him with the AWP, but the flashes indicate that G2 are moving up towards A. Oh, Farley goes for the swing, and it's not going to find the frag. 1-for-1 exchange for Madden, but G2 hold onto the advantage. Molotov sailing into Crystal's position, so he has to smoke it off. His position known. They can bypass him altogether, make their way into this A site, and find Zen on that rotation.
Ooh. Important kill for Zen to find as Hunter will fall. Jax backs off in time. Arm and neck. He's found an angle, but Stiko instead has found his head. Takes him and puts him as a trophy. Jackson next to left alone. Stiko, he'll peek out wide as well, as he's good for one, but the spray is sloppy. Zen will correct his mistake, but a lot more damage dealt than they'd have liked. But even so, G2 this time not on a bonus round, Michael. This time, G2's economy does actually suffer.
Yeah, a bank breaker. So they have options. They could half invest. We saw them go for an AK on one player in a couple of rounds on overpass, but gonna take the more measured approach. Pistols instead. Oh, healthy amount of damage onto Almanac. He's the only one who didn't have armor. The second nade to follow. Okay, Almanac bombarded. So an early pick for GODSENT. They are still scaling in towards middle, though the boost may be unanticipated, but the adjustment from Madden is sharp.
Very nicely done from Madden. I love to see him coming alive. Zen as well, right behind with 2 important kills. Madden started off so strong on overpass, and it seems like form is eternal for him, at least in the series. Michael, I'm getting a little bit worried for the side of G2, and I know it's just 3-3. It's just the CT side of GODSENT, and they do very often show us something to be happy about over here. But if you start to get more and more aggressive on all of your players, if you start to get this confident, then I'm suddenly taking your side a lot more.
Yeah, I think with teams that are more comfortable with Vertigo, 9 rounds is the sweet spot. I think for GODSENT, it has to be 10 or 11 before they can really feel comfortable.
Yep, absolutely. I agree with you entirely. Their T side can be very flaky. Crystal waiting right behind the sandbags. Is this time the dynamic is less about him and Farley, it's more about him and Madden. Madden, of course, picking up the AWP. Farley Playing from a little bit more of a further behind angle. He's just contesting for Ali to make sure G2 can't get it for free. G2, though, they don't have any nades to flush out sandbags. It's only Molotovs. So Crystal's smoke is going to be incredibly important and how he uses it. Crystal's waiting. He could be popping out soon. Flashbang is getting primed as Martin scopes in, gets one. Crystal's got the same. Nexa, in the meanwhile, trades, and Crystal is down, but with the smokes on the ground, Martin wants to keep aggressing, boosted up initially, and he's got another kill. Now, the bomb's not been planted yet, and the smokes will dissipate, so Armanek can't get back onto the site. Nexa needs to get the kills. Nexa's got one. But Armanek, now he needs to lead the charge. Martin still not dead yet. 2 kills to his name. Still firing out. GODSENT for 20 seconds. Don't need to make a change. And a flashbang will keep them at bay. They've still got 2 more flashes and a nade in Stiko's hands. And a second flashbang goes out. Martin will not reveal himself. Nade will go flying forward, but it might be a bit too early. 10 seconds and Armanek goes into it. The bomb side. Nexa right behind him. Almost fires on his own teammate. And there isn't enough time. They might barely have it, but no, they don't. And Martin even getting a fadeaway shot, looking for more, and will be the death of Armanek after the time runs out. What a catastrophe for G2.
Silver lining for G2 is that the AWP is taken out of Martin's hands, but yeah, the economic situation is dire. They reinvest, they get that back into comfortable territory here for GODSENT. If they can accomplish damage, they can rush them down. Like G2, Dink on Farley, down to 1 HP, but he's still alive and kicking, still finding some space over towards short. The problem is he can't back off. If he does, that short position could definitely lead him to be far too exposed. Finally, a smoke sails out, so he gets behind his teammates. They take the brunt of it now.
Well, it goes outwards, and well, Michael, at what point do we start to say G2 Esports needs to start bringing out some sort of set strat, some sort of pocket piece? I doubt they will in a situation like this. Obviously, this matters a little bit less for G2 than it did for North and FaZe. They're both, you know, GODSENT and G2 are both number 2 and number 3 on the RMR standings, respectively, for now. The extra points are nice to have, though, either way. Next up, very nice skill to have as well. Crystal will trade, but so far, with only a single casualty, GODSENT will keep their money healthy. Kenny, though, is looking to make it a little bit more spicy, but with a nade coming through, they'll keep the magic tree alive.
Healthy amount of damage at the very least. G2 with a bye coming into this round as well. It certainly toppled the economy here for GODSENT. They don't have too much in the reserves. I wouldn't put it past them to reinvest should they lose this one. G2, we'll see what they bring to the table. Kenny, of course, back on the AWP, but Armanek's on an SMG.
This is where we need someone to step up from the side of G2. You're down 3 to 5. This is one of your big rounds where you have another buy before GODSENT can make it really, really dicey for you. It's now or never. Kenny, probably not going to be the one with the AWP. It's just not that kind of map. I'm looking at Jax, maybe coming in with a couple of big entries, and as Martin is scoped in, pulls out the Molotov, could be caught out, but Martin instead just backs off. He doesn't reveal that he has the AWP. I don't think they would have heard of the scope at that time, at least. Nice Molotov.
Oh, but look what Stiko's doing over at B. He's pushed all the way through. A little bit further than G2 may anticipate. He completely locks out that B bomb site, and now the utility's sailing over towards A. Kenny still peering in with the AWP, but nobody's facing here for GODSENT.
If I'm not wrong, they're just going for a full execute. Next is lined up a Molotov as well that could be going out towards Superbox. Jax has got something a little bit similar. Jax's molly goes out, will catch both Superbox and the back of it. Now go out the smokes as well. Crystal, who's very far forward, will find one Jax to fall. Crystal to be traded. Bardic and company are still heading back up and give down Armanek, but Kenny's still fighting. From the sandbag, Stiko, though, is going to be the hidden wrench in the machine. Bomb has been dropped, and so has Kenny. With that, Farlick finds a last and a beautiful round from GODSENT. So much information gained from Seiko, and they know that there just aren't that many avenues for the side of G2 to be coming in from. They're so well aware of the player coming in from mid. They're so well aware of the player coming in towards ramp later on. It's just beautifully done.
And I think this is one of the issues we're starting to see from the G2 T side, is that they're grinding out these rounds so long that if anything goes wrong, it becomes even more chaotic because the time's against them. Another moment where the bomb gets taken down as the timer is expiring. Really difficult position to find yourself in hectic moments like that.
Double up.
Yeah.
Interesting. I wonder how they're going to use this one, actually. Martin will have rotated over. The flashbang overhead as well is well-timed. It means that the T's can't just aggress forward, but he might still be caught off. Farlig on his side is the only backup he has, and Zen as well comes in. Not a single casualty on the CT side across the round. GODSENT are up 7-3. Yeah,
they juggle the aggression from G2 so well. Even with as many flashes sailing over, I thought for sure they would rush down Martin. They would have been able to take that space. But instead, Farlig comes up big, saves his teammate. They just juggle how G2 are playing the pathways. Now back on rifles once again.
Also, it's a really good anti-flash from Martin as well. Let's not forget that. But Martin is not done being great somehow. Nex has not checked the angle, and Martin's even crept past. They can't be expecting this, but he might just find the bomb. Oh, your days indeed. Because their days are running out soon enough. Martin, he's got so much info. G2 have got a buy, yes, but when you're already down, Martin has crept in from behind. He's brought up forward, yes, but now advantage still maintained, at least as far as HP goes by Zen.
That could have been so much worse, and look at what Farlig's doing as well. All that space that Martin created, he is compensating for his loss of life. Jax has that in the back of his mind, though, still clearing behind as they progress, executing towards this A site, but it's all about delaying and slowing them down. The nade from Stiko, a touchdown at that. Jax dialing in the digits nice and early here for G2, but are they prepared for this flank? Farlig approaching from the backlines. They boost up, and that's easy for Farlig. They both line themselves up for a nice little spray down, and GODSENT get an 8th.
This is a completely different GODSENT to what we've seen all tournament long on Vertigo. This is a GODSENT that somehow knows exactly what J2 is looking to do, and when J2 is making the mistakes, they don't just exploit the single mistake from Nexa. Martin goes above and beyond. He pushes through the smoke with an AWP.
Yeah.
And all pushing through a smoke, guys, early on in a round. When G2 also, by the way, hasn't shown any presence on ramp. So for him to go for the push through the smoke there, that's suicide. But he's got the confidence to do it. He's got the confidence that, okay, Farlig's behind me. I've got the first kill. Even if I die over here, the information I'll get is crucial, and it's a 1-for-1 fight. That's a situation I want to see Martin in 9 times out of 8.
Right, improper fractions.
Hey, that was an improper play.
That it was. Fair dues. Well, we'll see if that timeout leads for G2 to start putting a bit more pressure towards that B site, whether they stray from their default. They've been very focused on the A bomb site, but instead, no, it's a faster play. They're trying to scale quickly and eliminate space for GODSENT to set up on the CT side. They're contained in towards the bomb site, but all the initiative lies on G2 and how they play this out.
Oh, Molotov goes out initially. Farlig, who's so aggressive, can't find anything. Nexa now keeps it going. Second kill. Flash will delay him for long enough that Zen can take down his teammate. Crystal, in the meanwhile, comes in for backup, and backup is good. Backup is great. Molotov lined up, but Zen to go down. He's trying to fight inside the smoke. How Crystal has moved past, but Hunter has intercepted and taken him down. Stiko left alone. 1 versus 3. Right around the corner is another player who he can't expect. Possibly Hunter, though, if he goes for a bomb plant over here, that would be a colossal mistake. Stiko, more worried than anything else about someone coming in from behind, and he's locked himself out of the bomb site because of it. The Molotov will buy them just enough time to get the bomb down. Now, Stiko comes in from the side. Well, he's not great on them, but he's still looking to punish the side of G2 as much as he possibly can, and with that 1 kill, he knows it's very difficult to actually get this round out, but hey, damage is still fantastic, and that smoke puts so much more risk towards that player on ramp. The flashbang will push Stiko back. Stiko peeks out, is good for another. Back down to a 1 versus 1. Looking for the bomb, but can't find it inside the smoke. And as he goes for the fuse, they don't think he's sticking it, but they'll check anyway. Hunter wins the round, but at what cost?
A heavily expensive round for G2, and Stiko makes it close. You can see how concerned they were about a flank. Stiko's been doing it so often when they've got progressed on towards this A site. But he made a more common rotation, a more standard play, and it almost catches G2 off guard. They dodge that bullet. They're down to SMGs after winning the round, and GODSENT, their money's broke. This is a swinging moment. Rushed down by the SMGs in middle. Crystal inspecting, but inspecting a frag as well added to the tally. It's an equalizer, and Madden's pushed B as well.
And with the advantage once again in the court of GODSENT, G2 have got to start wondering, how do we bring this all back? No one is fragging out in their individuals, but Kenny is at least good for the equalizer. Interesting flashbang from Stiko to allow Crystal forward. I'm not quite sure about that in a 4v3, but hey, information was absolutely needed, and I won't argue with them on that at least.
Ooh, they may rendezvous to the B-bomb site. Something slightly different. The flash does give an indicator over to GODSENT. They haven't cheated a rotation over as of yet. Madden will be alone here on B. I think Stiko's walking his way over, but it might be a little too late. Molotov sails in, but it actually misses. So Madden not going to get cleared out. Stiko there to support. Madden given options and given chances, but not going to rattle off the shot. Oh, swing and a miss. G2 still trying to get themselves onto this site, and Kenny finally plucks Madden out. Look at where they are. They're so close. Generator, Jax just shuts it down. Both kills found by him, and G2 close it out in the 3-on-3.
And a 3-on-4 even. Let's not forget, Kenny was the one who found back. So Crystal and Madden, their early aggression is great, but then re-aggressing mid-round is what comes back to bite them. And well, it's a hard bite. Even Madden missing that crucial shot later on allows Kenny another opportunity to peek in. And that's a very good angle for Kenny, yes, but... Sorry, for Madden, yes, but... The second you lose that initial duel and Kenny knows where you are dead to rights, mister. Stiko and Zen both to fall early as GODSENT were forced back down to an equal. As much as I did praise Stiko for going for a bit more damage in the round before the previous one, of course it has its own problems as well. They will have their economy reset pretty handily. And at the worst possible time, let's not forget, we said GODSENT probably need 10 or 11 to be comfortable.
Sorry, I just love the way you said "Mister," like an angry school teacher.
Listen, mister.
That's not gonna work out for you in the long run. Head down, study up. And it's evident that GODSENT have been studying, at least a little bit, on Vertigo. The CT side's looking a lot more commendable, but G2 are fighting back, and they've dodged that critical mass, I think, that GODSENT needed to accomplish. We said 10 or 11. They've been contained to 8 so far.
Madden. Oh, that missed Molotov gives him options, and last time he had them, he didn't capitalize. This time over, Hunter will feel the wrath of the financial market. Farlig will get another one in the meanwhile, as he did aggress forward very much so, and he's even been given enough time to back off, and Madden turns out he wants to come in and cash out. Nexa and Kenny combine forces to find Crystal, but Martin still looking to keep aggressing in. And with that secondary smoke, that means alley control is completely given up by G2. There's no way they can get it for now, but they still want to fight. Almanek waiting for the smoke to dissipate, and as Martin turns around, Almanek might be given a chance. Martin is still flirting with the timings. And as he peeks in, Almanek has been located. Almanek still ready for more as he intercepts, but Zen will finally take him down. 2 versus 2 to be had. Kenny's has found Zen. And with that, he knows Ali is clear as well. Stiko, last man standing, fighting 1v2, trying to find the bomb planter, but Nexa will be able to get past it. Still a 1v1. Kenny on the other side with an AWP. Stiko Back up the super box. Kenny, how many shots are you going to miss, Kenny? Kenny's still fighting. Kenny's finally landed one, but it's through the concrete. And Stiko is trying to take the fight to Kenny. He's trying to look for the one tap. Kenny knows that he's coming. There's not much time, and Stiko gets it done in the 1v1. The time is ticking down, and he has no kit, but he's got the defuse nonetheless. 9th round on the board for GODSENT as they fight that one out. And with that, we'll be off to a break to see whether GODSENT can rip something together on their terrorist side.
And now he is up to 13 kills, 5 deaths with 4 assists. And the pressure begins to swell on Astralis. Okay, we've had this back and forth scrappy affair. Now the T's are building a bit of an economy, Astralis. What do you have to say to that? What is your retort? It's going to be long control. Flashbangs are good on both sides, though. Both teams being flashed simultaneously, and it comes out pretty even. But that equality's been taken away from Major, spraying up through the smoke while Essetag is laid in wait. Excellent hold. Only one casualty. There is the retort. And it's decisive, it's clear, it's resounding.
It's a really nice take back from Astralis. I like the fact that we still see these sort of gambles. Like, it's something that you have to do quite regularly, but it's based off the read of your opponent. And Vitality have been challenging for long, quite a lot through this map. Interestingly, we mentioned Device's AWP at the very beginning of the game. Now, you can correct me if I'm wrong, because at this point I might have missed it. I don't think he's had an AWP this entire map.
No, he's had a lot of scouts, but no AWP. It's just because the economy's been so busted, but maybe they can start to get themselves back into this. Now, it's another great hold. 4 kills unanswered. Astralis were down. Maybe a little bit of motivation lost with that crazy clutch, but they're bouncing back with a bang.
Yeah, they're a map to the good. Obviously, the first one was completely dominant from the likes of Astralis, and now they finally get 5 rifles, and it seems like that's the turning point. Looking to try and get back after what was that ridiculous force by battle, and of course, it seems like we're going to have a pause coming in. There's been a few of them so far. Given a bit of extra time to talk, and offer the tease at this point. The money's not great. Jocks is in there twice, so it's probably a technical one this time, but even if we just take whoever's money is missing into consideration, the chances are the buy, if they do go for one, is going to mainly involve just rifles, no AWP for Zywoo. And I'll be honest, Vince, I really want to see that AWP come back, please. Again, he's not had it much either, and the one time he did, he single-handedly won them around. So if anything, I think that's reason enough to maybe just go for some pistols, go for a faster short play, especially with how they've been able to perform with like the scouts and pistols. Actually, that's another investment I'd like to see. If somebody wants to hand Apex a scout, that would also work too.
Sure. No, that's a good point. You know, obviously Zywoo's going to get a lot of the plaudits with that crazy clutch and the 4K afterwards against basically an eco, but Apex, he's been chugging along, flying under the radar. Apex with some big scout entries. In the other game, GODSENT already a map to the good against G2 would be a bit of a head turner of the result. Now lead 9-6 in the second half of the second map. That would be a huge upset, I think it's safe.
1 round shy of cracking double digits. GODSENT still close out the first half in a nice little 1v1 clutch. Can G2 bring it back in the second half? Michael, Yumi, Cassidy with me on the microphone as always. Michael, take it away.
Well, whole lot of pressure for nothing. G2, CT side. They have some utility to play off of. There's someone GODSENT's hands, of course, Crystal, the man designated to support. They set their sights on middle nice and early. Of course, a lot of the questions have to be answered about GODSENT's T side. We'll see if they can get it done with a nice, healthy start on the pistol. Jax spotting the aggression through middle. They're trying to collapse on B quickly, and Stiko cuts off their exit, catching Kenny completely the wrong direction. Nexa able to compensate for one, but will he be tracked down? They're trying to chase him. Farling eventually gets the frag, but the problem is the bomb hasn't made its way into the site in a place where it can be planted, so G2 are here quick.
Well, the E2 still need to be wary of a rotation coming in from behind because Crystal is trying to rotate about and give them a bit of a stab in the back. Martin, though, turns around, somehow gets the kill, and he's still alive, but Jax, he's found one more. Crystal now in the 1v2. Are they expecting this? No, they're not, but Crystal is missing shots! Crystal, you can't do that! You can't do that, Crystal, your team. They set it up for you. You were the chosen one. How could you let us down?
You were supposed to bring balance to the force.
And you killed Mace Windu instead.
Oh dear. Well, they set it up for him, sort of. They weren't supposed to die so quickly. Well,
also true about Mace Windu.
They get close. They certainly had the site, but D2 steal it away. Some fantastic shots on the retake and a good recognition of the flank, even if it did come at a few missed shots there from Crystal. Again, this has become a standard that GODSENT have set for us. Of course, bomb plant does certainly help in this decision, but a buy right back into it after losing the pistol.
For a second there, I thought you were saying Crystal missing shots have become very standard. I was just thinking about that. Rude.
No, I wasn't going that angle.
Hunter, nade goes outwards. Well, no, not terrible. Well, I'll take it. Crystal's been tagged up just a little bit. Of course, he's the one with that Kevlar and just a P250, so perhaps not the most significant of attacks, but even so, we'll have to wait to see. Now, Martin on the AK, that's a prospect that I find exciting. We'll have to wait to see whether he can find any kills, though. As Nexa is waiting around the B-bomb site. He had a fantastic round on pistol, finding himself 2 very important kills as well. But with 35 seconds on the clock and it winding down quickly, Molotov's coming in will force Nexa out of his position, and over he goes. Flashbang up, he is brought down. Stiko keeps going with the second kill to his name. Hunter trade it away, but not for 2. So advantage still heavily in the favor of GODSENT, and it seems like it is very well charted territory for them as they will sneak out of force by victory.
Yeah, Amanek and Hunter just trying to contain them in the site where possible. Make sure that this is a costly round, if that, for GODSENT. There is a kit on the site, so there was a chance that they could have gone for it, but I don't think they realized just how much damage has been accomplished on these GODSENT players. Oh, SMG for Amanek does track down Farlig. This is the problem. Low HP players. Okay, they take the fight, and Amanek hits nothing. Only Hunter to save.
Yeah, Hunter will just back off and take the M4 home. And with that, G2 Esports will lose their immediate advantage. Now, the problem over here that always comes into the second half is, and this is why you want to start on the CT side of every single map in the game. I don't care what map it is. You want to start on CT side. Is because the CT side economy lends itself to much fewer overall buy rounds. So you might end up having maybe 4 buy rounds and a half if you're having your CT side in the second halves instead of the 8 that you normally have, because you're so much more likely to start losing out to these force spies or these eco rounds. And now G2, maybe they can sneak something away. Hunter peeks in, but Crystal trades him out immediately. The MP9 trumping out the M4, and with that, it leaves G2 with a couple of deagles.
Yeah, geez, outgunning him with the SMG. And a reasonable distance as well. They're not going to guard that rifle, though. Oh, door stuck. Okay. Good manners. Martin first. Over towards B they go. GODSENT. Contact play. Actually, no. Setting up for utility. Thought they were just going to walk themselves in, but against pistols, not likely.
Pretty scary to do that. Bomb plant should be free enough, but G2 Esports at this point, all they'd like to go for is a bit of damage. I wouldn't even mind taking them save the players with Kevlar, just throw Jax and Amanek at them. Why not? Even the rest of them might be safe, but Crystal's still left all the way back towards the back lines to see if he can maybe find Amanek, get a little bit of extra money. Nexa, though, he will back off and G2 will save.
Yeah, they get their hands on that M4 that's dropped as well. So.
Oh, important. I mean, I love this decision from G2.
Mm-hmm. Save the armor, save the deegs. I know that we've discussed this before about, I mean, you lose your force buy round or you lose your round where you upgrade into upgraded pistols. And sure, it doesn't go your way. Take another swing at it the next round.
Yep. I mean, the point is always, if you think it was good enough to work in this round, then why wouldn't it be good enough to work in the round immediately afterwards? Mm-hmm. Why waste your guns in an impossible scenario? So I like this from G2 Esports. They're likely to drop the Deagle from Kenny over to Hunter. Hunter will buy up some Kevlar as well off the back of it. So let's see how this goes.
Well, first chance doesn't work out. Second, third is the magic number. But G2 won't want to give that many away. Stiko, first kill found, traded immediately back by Jax.
Well, that is at least a little bit more success than they'd found in the previous round already. Zen is still waiting behind the generator as he waits for them to start coming his way. Still a 4 versus 4. But you have to realize GODSENT are incredibly nervous at this point. At least they should be. When you've got Deagles in front of you, G2 is known, and even in the previous map, did almost start to steal away a few rounds, which they definitely didn't.
Kenny making the rotation as well could be dangerous. There's that M4. Farlig taking down at a distance. That bomb spotted out. But Kenny getting spammed by Crystal. Headshots through the plywood. And things go well for GODSENT. They get the kills they need to secure the site. And Jax on this flank. Does he check the close right corner? Oh, not quite. Zen able to best him positionally. GODSENT dodge out another one of these rounds from G2. And now Rifle should be out in spades. That AWP, I'm looking to see it out for G2, but it can be a difficult decision to make, especially when you're looking at it as your first gun round, going in without armor, but Kenny's going to do it.
Honestly, at this point, if you're not getting it now and you buy the M4A4, if you lose one gun round, then you'll only have one round with the AWP. So I actually think this is the perfect position to go for it. Yes, there's a lot of nade damage potential on a map like Vertigo, but you're basically saying to yourself, yeah, I'm not going to have the AWP if we lose this round. So may as well try and go all in on this one. When you're down 7-12, it's still doable. Nexa, though, with that Molotov, has been forced to reveal his position. Jax is still burning alive, fully flashed up, and although he's good for one, he's traded soon after. Martin knows where Nexa is, and he has located and brought him down. Zen will do the same to Kenny, yes, and so far, not good at all. Now they're starting to fight forward, but Martin will intercept with a great flick. Left with just a single point of HP off the back of all of that, and Hunter alone versus the world.
We saw so many 1v2s on Overpass. 1v4? No. Not a chance. They are very separate. They are spreading out, trying to hunt this weapon out of Hunter's hands. There was a realistic chance that he could go for a ninja play here. You'd only have to best Farlig. But he is locking down that site, making sure that's not a possibility, and Hunter's not interested. Versus the M4, a much more reliable endeavor to keep into this.
Well,
the GODSENT T side, I mean, they're finding rounds.
It helps when you get the force buy.
Yeah, that it does.
And I think at this point, GODSENT probably had that one in their playbook, which was, okay, lose pistol, check. Win force buy. Yeah, we're going to do that anyway. We know about that. Let's move on, Crystal. What's next?
It really wouldn't surprise me. We've seen it all tournament long. Just, oh yeah, win the second round. Easy.
Yeah. Crystal says, you know what, guys? So I've heard a lot of people saying that the second round is the hardest one to win if you won the pistol. Why don't we just lose the pistol? And they're like, oh, absolutely.
Game breaking.
I'd believe it. Fantastic on those force buys, honestly. GODSENT have some of the best in the world at this point. Molotov goes out. Nice, cute little lineup, but Hunter is less cute as he finds a spray through the smoke and a quick kill off the back of it. Nades and whatnot will fly through, but G2 might be looking to explode, and Hunter has indeed popped out Stiko. drops the bomb in the process as well, and as he's looking through the smoke, Crystal's very low, but Nexa's the one to come in from behind. Suddenly it's a taste of their own medicine. Falling now has to fight back. Both players so low, and with guns also picked up and saved, Nexa will find yet another. Crystal from behind will pick up the gun fallen by Nexa, but is he going to be able to get this done? They don't have a kit. He's going to have to peek out. Gets the quick kill, but not the trade. Hunter will come out on top, and with 3 kills, G2 were able to sneak out around, which they definitely didn't have in the cards.
Such an important play for Hunter to make, taking fights consistently as they're going into the site atop the super box as well. They just couldn't keep eyes on him. See, it's around the smoke, so he can reposition safely, and Hunter just being such a nuisance. That 5-on-3 only got worse when the flank was activated as well for G2. So that could be a lifeline, a bit more breathing room to work with. They're trying to topple that money that looks so pretty for GODSENT on this T side. Once again, they get Kenny on that AWP. We'll see if Amanek chooses to get aggressive as well. We haven't seen too much aggression from the CT side of G2 yet. We haven't seen too much of G2 CT side in general yet.
Well, this is going to be a big round for either team. G2, for them, this is the big lifeline that Hunter has managed to grab. GODSENT, this is where they try to chop that off. Farley, meanwhile, waits for the push to come in from Amanek, but Amanek is not quite exposing himself to the bridge. And with that, GODSENT reveal. They do reveal that there's one player around the corner with modern reloading, though, Michael. I'm very curious to see how G2 set this up for late round. GODSENT still undecided on where they want to go with 50 seconds on the clock. This is where G2 should start throwing those smokes, but Jax and Nexa aren't doing it. What? Is that a wallbang?
I'm going to assume so. I mean, it must be. I don't think Martin wanted to fire off bullets for no reason.
All right. Maybe
they've been learning.
Okay. Maybe they've just been trying to give away some information. 20 seconds on the clock and trying to go into a site with a couple of players on it is very difficult.
Yes, they need to go quick. Zen cutting off rotations in middle. There's Hunter gone. They're collapsing on the bomb site swiftly here for GODSENT, and Zen's found 2. Farling, oh dear, they almost get caught out by Nexus position. Jax made his way in, but the bomb, it hasn't been planted, so they need a win on elimination, and they can't pull it off. Amanek evades capture. G2 win the round by time alone, and Amanek surviving.
Can I just say, good old GODSENT. They come through, they do everything perfectly. Everything's brilliant. Like, look at Zen's pathing. That is picture perfect. But they don't get the bomb plant down in time because they waited just 3 seconds too long.
G2 had a round like that as well.
Yeah.
If you recall. Just
that is true.
Reading out the time a little too long.
Well, when all is said and done, though, G2 get their fair due, and they still have a buy on them, courtesy of the fact that obviously they did win the pretty much the 0 investment round, so they've got a lot more money than you'd normally expect. Kenny, though, getting very aggressive, has found the first, and the bomb has dropped because of it. It's very, very far out towards the CT territory, and Kenny needs to be flashed because of it, but Nex has already found another.
Oh, the spam right between the 2 GODSENT players, but the spam on the M4 far more successful. The quick flank from Hunter immediately destroys what GODSENT had in the round, and it's all prompted off that initial aggression from Kenny. Nexa there to follow up to support, but GODSENT losing the bomb at that very first kill spelt disaster.
Okay, now G2's here to play. Hunter, he's got 19 kills. He is feeling himself. Nexa close behind on 16 as well. These 2 are the lifeblood of this team, and the lifeblood is now flowing, coursing through their veins. But look at Amanek, so aggressive early on. He might be able to find Martin, but the flashbang means they blind. Martin will still go down, but the trade's good. Farling immediately brings it back, but so much information given up because of it, and the spray through the smoke will net him nothing.
1-for-1 exchange. GODSENT still on the other side of that A ramp smoke. They're spread out in that default. Kenny, was last seen towards the B bomb site. Of course, in the previous round, taking up a mantle at A instead, and this could certainly catch GODSENT out. The repositioning of the AWP. Oh no. Transitioning out in the open like that when the smoke has faded, that is a huge misstep there from Kenny.
4 versus 3 now, and like you said, that one small mistake could lead to a lot of issues. Hunter, though, again on the flank. Somehow, this guy's always trying to flank them. Little does he know, GODSENT's just moved back and gone towards the B bomb site. And this is where the rotation that's coming in is going to be instrumental, but Hunter finding Zen is even more so. Seiko will start to lead forward. There is a player on the side that's next out, waiting for them, gets the first, but doesn't re-peek out. Knows they have an advantage, and thus the keys will come to him instead. G2 Esports are on 11 rounds, even though it looked like GODSENT had found them making a crucial mistake.
And that is critically played, extremely well played from Nexa. Finding that first kill, hiding. You can see the pressure that applies to Crystal. He drops the bomb, trying to trace down that trade. And it's enough time bought that rotations can come in for G2. GODSENT, time out. How do they approach this one? Martin's already invested into an AK and some armor, so it seems to be that they may just buy up around this. It could, of course, be this hero AK, little really to support from GODSENT, at least in terms of weaponry, but Zen's going to buy up with him. They're keeping just enough funds to invest in the following round. Of course, they're on a max loss bonus, so yeah, they should still have money to get into guns the next round. I like the idea.
Well, Ollie flies through from Hunter initially just to make sure that if GODSENT want to get aggressive through the smoke, they can't do it. And I like that. I really appreciate the GODSENT's sometimes seemingly mindless aggression, even though I know that Martin definitely has a lot of thought that goes into it. But a lot of utilities used in the process of actually trying to mitigate that early on.
Yeah, 3 smokes, 3 flashes. Another flash used. You two are bleeding their utility at the moment.
Jax's position is going to be huge as they start to walk in. Jax has got one, but they're not peeking him. They're just going one by one, and that means so much damage dealt. Martin been relegated to a deagle as Farlig now picks up the AK instead. He'll be boosted up. Maybe he can find Hunter around the corner if he wants to keep going. Hunter in front of him, straight to the head he goes. Back to a 4 versus 3, but with Crystal and Farlig not having armor, I'd say it's even at best for GODSENT. 35 seconds and Crystal will fall. Amanek to take him apart.
They still reconvene over towards A, and Amanek's not done. Close angle held, but he peeks away. The steps being made towards ramp, it draws his attention, so he doesn't hold that angle. Kenny on the site, AWP in hand. Farlig, the other side of the train, and they're creeping closer. Those scopes are giving his position away. Nexus found one, but it's not going to be enough. Bomb can get planted, but a isolated 1v1 that Zen comes out on top of. It's the Deagle. Of course it is. GODSENT, a 14th round after it was just 2 AKs bought up.
They will live and die by the force by it seems. J2 is given a ray of hope off the back of Deagles, but GODSENT remind them that the half by the force by, that is their speciality. GODSENT, 14-11, G2, money in the bin, and Amanek is leading the charge, and he's found another. Martin will fall. Amanek damaged up, down to 23 he goes, but not quite down entirely.
Well, not quite a 1-for-1 exchange, though Amanek is battered and bruised. And that's the player with the least amount brought into this round, finding impact. It's all you can really ask for.
Almanek's also insane with the 5.7s. We saw that against FaZe yesterday. He found 3 kills in a round as well, so would not be surprising to see him start off a difficult round very well.
They have given up a lot of control to GODSENT. In going for that aggression early, they've allowed them space at ramp. They are creeping forward. No real indicators, no cues. Of course, Kenny with the AWP peering in. And now the utility does give up the game. Kenny still holding the angle, given the shot, and Crystal's down.
With Crystal's demise, now Kenny will start to move back. Zen, though, cuts off the rotation, and the Molotov will mean Kenny can't do anything either. Bomb's been planted, and as the Superbox player will be forced off by his secondary Molotov, Stiko's still playing from default. He's not backing off, but where's Zen being fired on from? I can't even tell. Farlig, though. Nice little angle with the AWP. Unfortunately, he is flashed off, and his own flashbang will try to keep G2 at bay. All three players completely blind. Farlig goes in for a secondary peek as well after taking down Amanek. And he knows it's all about finding the kills over here. Farlig, keep on fighting. Hunter will fall, and the player coming in from Ali is too late. Nexa is good for a kill, yes, but that's not good for enough. Farlig saves the day at the most crucial of times. Himself and Stiko will die, yes, but G2, they are now down to nothing in their bank.
Only the AWP of Kenny brought forward, and it's the AWP of GODSENT that makes all of the difference. Farlig, 2 critical frags. So the third is really just the cherry on top, and they had the money to reinvest into that. They could throw away some guns, but this is a scrappy buy, maybe even worse than scrappy. SMG, FAMAS, and that saved AWP. Amanek tries again for some early aggression, but it's Hunter on the FAMAS. G2, another phenomenal FAMAS play to get them another opening opportunity. Different series altogether, but G2 may have just bought enough room.
The FAMAS is French, and indeed, that couldn't be truer right now. Admittedly, Hunter isn't, but anyway, still sticking with the narrative. Farlig watching for a flank to come in from behind. Nexa with the MP9 could be a thorn in the side. But with a minute left on the clock, he knows he needs to go play around with his teammates. Stiko has found 2 kills to make it doable in the 2 versus 3. Flashes and utilities still favoring them, but as they chuck it all out, Farlig will move back to be wary about Nexa. And as Nexa traverses forward, Farlig was ready, but not good enough to take care of it. Stiko now has to fight for the ace clutch to see if he can walk away with it. 40 seconds, bomb on his back, yes. But can he find the initial kill? And can he do it without Kenny trading him away immediately? He is threading the needle. Kenny will not be able to find him at this point. And Kenny's even looking down because he knows the scope will show otherwise. Molotov will be revealing Stiko's position. Jax will swing out and take him down. And Hunter, he is eating good tonight because he is feasting on a lot of prey. Now, still, let's not get ahead of ourselves. This is probably the hardest round in the game for G2. GODSENT are on pistols.
1 AK bought up, but upgraded pistols. Astutely noted for GODSENT. G2, that is a lifeline. A heroic performance from Hunter and an angle that went uncleared, unchecked, and was completely unpredicted. Now they let that happen once more. Hunter, he's actually been delegated down to an MP7. If he gets the same amount of effectiveness, okay, never mind. Farley instantly deletes him.
I guess that's why he's on the MP7. Did want to get aggressive there. Amanek. He's definitely French. Waiting for them to start creeping up, but when he reveals himself dropping down, he sees them. Oh, Amanek is out of there. Speedy as he can be, but falling. He's been tagged away as Amanek tries to fade backwards. Flashbang is good. It's great. But Farlig is still leading the charge. He's found Amanek. And a second from Stiko comes into play. Bomb will be planted. And Farlig could still be firing away inside the smoke. G2 Esports will fall. Kenny, yes. Kenny, yes. Oh, no. He can't get it. They can't get it done. GODSENT. Every time they're on a pistol. Every time.
They cannot keep getting away with it, but they do each and every time. I still don't know what leads to all that. Maybe it's just because the players are insane, but you called it. You said how difficult a round that was going to be for G2, and it proved to be more than difficult. Farling, Stiko, both finding kills on the Deagle and that A-bomb site. It was just, the defense was non-existent just because of how caught out they got.
the second that Armaneg jumps up and spots those 3 players, that's when everything starts to unravel completely. That's the second way. You just know they're beelining up that ramp. They're going straight to try and get a couple of frags in, finish them off there and then. And what a way to do it. GODSENT will be your victors. GODSENT will be able to find themselves that coveted 11th place spot. And G2 Esports, I don't know what was going on with them in that series overall, but you know, in Vertigo, they did come alive a little bit more, Michael, but not really to the same extent, and never against Pistols, God no.
Yeah, some really critical losses at the hands of some scrappy buys from GODSENT, but it's what we come to expect from them. Unfortunately so, we've seen, I think I made this point before, but GODSENT have a crazy way of making your anti-ecos look terrible. Even if you're a fan of a team, winning so many rounds consistently, it's more GODSENT than any other team, because I don't think anybody's had a successful crackdown on dealing with those second round buys.
Oh, it's insane. I think you put it perfectly. It doesn't matter who you are. GODSENT will break your streak. Even against North yesterday, sure, they lost the series, but GODSENT broke the streak. GODSENT broke North's